Day 19, January Prayer Fasting, and we're in Leviticus 19 summary. Now, this chapter repeats loads of laws and commands that it's already said. So, and it has it enforced, and it starts with like, you shall be holy. Now, holy here is making them understand that God is holy in the sense of he's different from man. All mankind or humans, all types of deity that they might have heard about, is different. So to be holy is to be separate, and to be more like God is what they'll understand about being holy. And then it goes on to give commandments again about honoring your mother and father. It goes on to talk about not being injustice, and also making sure they leave food for so when they're harvesting in the field, not to take all the crops, not to take all the harvest, but leave the corners and stuff so the poor can have some food. Which actually, when Naomi, that's how she met her husband, because Naomi was poor and she was gleaning in the fields, and that's how Boaz saw her. And it also gives more commandments on kindness, not to be cursing the blind or the deaf, because in those days as well, it was like also, because with the deaf, it also is making them understand that no, they used to think that the blind and deaf were cursed by God. So if they were to curse them, it don't matter. But God was making them know that no, God didn't curse them for one, and you need to treat them nicely, and don't put, like for the blind, don't put things in front of them so they will trip up like a stumbling block. So it shows how they might have saw such wickedness in Egypt that they must not act like their nations before, or the places they come from. And laws on being nice to the strangers, loving themselves, loving people like they love themselves, because again, they were strangers in Egypt, so they should also love their strangers and treat them like it's themselves. There was laws on not having tattoos and trimmings and cuttings represent the dead, because these things at that time was representing how the pagans used to mourn for their dead and do certain things to represent the dead and stuff. So again, Israel is meant to be set apart, not follow those things, because tattoos then was like you're saying you're a slave to a deity if you had a tattoo and stuff like that. Then there was laws again about not stealing. So again, it was showing that God has gave certain possessions to people, and the government, certain people shouldn't take someone's possessions. God has gave favor to certain people and stuff like that. Then we talked about righteousness, so to summarize the chapter, we said there's laws that was already covered, being reinforced. We talked about, keeping the Sabbath, but we know now Jesus is our Sabbath. Like when you remember what Jesus has done, you enter into his rest. Like Jesus has fulfilled the Sabbath. Then there was laws we talked about, not cursing the deaf or cursing the blind. We talked about not dealing falsely, not lying to one another, and you shall not swear by his name falsely. So this is all about justice, even commands to the judges that you will judge people righteously, because there was a thing where people think like the poor are more victims and the rich are richer, so you'll give favor to the poor, but you're meant to just wisely judge in the actual situation that what has actually happened, not just assume that the poor is innocent and the wealthy needs to help the poor, needs to be judged more harsher because they're richer than the poor and stuff. You have to actually judge righteously in the actual situation. And then what else did we have? They had laws about when they were to come. So in this chapter, it reminds them that they're going to go to Canaan, and they must not harvest or eat anything for the first 3 years when they're in Canaan, and the 4th year of the crop there, that's the Lord's, and then the 5th year, that's when they can eat. So there weren't much reason why this was there, but it would remind them that still that land is the Lord's. And what else? We talked about the cuttings of the flesh for the dead, no tattoo should be on them. And we talked about idols here. So idols, it was told them about not false serving idols. And idols, the word for idols translates to, it means nothing, means worthless. So it's about knowing that idols represents gods are not real. It's really nothings. It was laws on peace as well, to not be eating on the same, to make sure they eat on the same day. God don't want no stale peace offering, rather. God don't want no stale offerings. And that profane, it means something to treat something like it's not sacred. Then we talked about God. There was laws on business, so you make sure you judge weight with correct scales and stuff. So God cares about how we conduct our business. We need to do it honestly, and then even kindness for the society. So you rise when old people come in the room, showing them respect. It was linked to the same loving your neighbor. And what else did we have? So there's lots of little things in this chapter.